Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 8 from chapter 3 on page 167. As you can see right there, today I have 3 helpers with me today, Mr. Palmisano, Miss Mendez, same as my name, and Miss Chen. Let's get started.
Today we are going to learn about financial literacy. Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about financial literacy.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Palmisano. Now, what we're talking about when we say financial literacy is that we're talking about interest rate. When you borrow money and you borrow it at a certain interest rate, that means you have to pay for borrowing the money. And depending on the time, you'll know how much you have to pay. But first, let's become familiar with this formula. Principal is the amount of money deposited or borrowed. Simple interest is the amount paid or earned for the use of money. So when you borrow money, I have to pay you an interest. The simple interest formula is shown below. Fill in the diagram using the correct words from the word bank. So the word bank, here we have the I means the interest. P is the principal. R is the rate. And T is the time. And when we have variables next to one another like this, the operation that we must carry is multiplication. So go ahead and fill this out. Okay, again a reminder, the interest is the amount of money that you have to pay for borrowing, but we figure this out by multiplying the principal. The principal is the amount of money you borrowed times the rate, which means the interest rate. Is it 3%, 5%? And the amount of time. Are you borrowing it for a month, for a year, or so? Okay, go ahead and copy that down. Okay, now we're going to have Catherine, or I should say Miss Chen, help us with this real-world link here and how it applies.
Ms. Ramirez is investing $400 in saving account at a simple interest rate at 2% to purchase a laptop computer. She plans on investing the money for 18 months.
Perfect. Okay, so we have our principal of $400, our rate, our R of 2%, and our time of 18 months. Now we work with time as in units of years. 18 months we figured out that was 1 year and a half, so 1.5. The interest, you can never multiply percent. You must multiply it in the form of a decimal. So this would be 0.02. So let's fill it out right here. Based on this real world situation, fill in the blanks with the correct numbers. Write the rate as a decimal. Time is expressed in years, as you can see that. So as we just mentioned, we have our principal. The amount of money that we're using is $400 at the interest rate of 0.02, 2%, with the time of 18 months, which is 1.5 years. And to solve the interest rate, you would simply use your principal, you multiply your rate, and multiply it times time to give you the interest rate. So interest rate equals principal times rate times time.
Give me that money!
Simple interest I is the product of the principal P, the annual interest rate R, and the time T expressed in years.
Good, so that's our formula right there. If you have a savings account, the bank pays you interest for the use of your money. Because you're leaving your money there, they want you to leave it there, so they're going to give you some interest. Use the formula I equals PRT to find the amount of interest that will be earned. Okay, let's look at example 1 and 2 to become familiar so that we can do questions A and B at the bottom of the page. Now here we have Arnold puts $580 into a savings account. That's our principal. The account pays 3%. 3% is 0.03, right? How much interest will he earn in each amount of time? In 5 years or in 6 months? Now don't forget the 6 months is only half a year, so it's 0.5, and 5 years is 5 years. So replace the variables. I equals PRT. I equals 580 times 3% times 5. And then there you have it. Okay? So he's going to earn $87 in interest in 5 years. That's 87 free dollars just for leaving your money in the account. Number 2, 6 months. 6 months is 6 over 12, 6 out of 12 months, or half a year. I equals PRT, 580 times the interest rate of 3% times half the year. It's going to be $8.70 after 6 months. Not bad. Again, free money just for saving your money in the savings account. So go ahead and do A for us.
Jenny puts $1,560 into a saving account. The account pays 2.5% simple interest. How much interest will she earn in 3 years?
Excellent. So what do we need, Alfredo? We need to use our formula, right? Our
Yes.
interest equals P R T.
T.
P times R times T. Okay, please replace the variables.
Okay,
Our interest equals
in the interest equals P is 1,560
times
times the
rate.
rate, that is 2.5%, that it will be 0.025.
Times.
Well,
You can put the times in the next line, yes?
okay, times the time, that it will be 3 years.
Excellent work. What we simply have to do is just multiply these three amounts together and we will have our interest rate.
After you multiply, this will be your answer. And remember, this is in dollars, $117.
So we should add the dollar sign. $117 of interest. Good job, Alfredo. B.
Marcos invests $760 into a savings account. The account pays 4% simple interest. How much interest will he earn after 5 years?
Good job. Okay, let's try that. Let's write down the formula as always. Interest equals principal times rate times time. And now let's replace our variables. Interest equals, go ahead.
Interest equals 760, which will be the P, times 0.4.
That's our interest. Good job.
Which is our interest, and times 5, which is our time.
Excellent work. And when we multiply all three of these together, what are we going to get, Victoria? Or Miss Mendes, I should say.
When you multiply, you should get $152.
Well done. Let's add, or we can redo it with our dollar sign, right? $152. Thank you very much. Okay, so we just saw two examples on what the interest rate you would get if you put your money in a savings account. But interest rate works the other way as well. When you put your money in a savings account, you're giving the bank the money so they can use it however they want to. They will still give you back your money anytime you want it because the bank has a lot of money, but they're going to give you a certain interest rate for that. Now, credit cards are different. Credit cards is when you borrow money from the bank, and they're not going to charge you 2%. They're going to charge you anywhere between 20 to 30%. They make a lot of money when you borrow money from them. If you borrow money from a bank, you pay the bank interest for the use of their money. You also pay interest to a credit card company if you have an unpaid balance. Use the formula interest equals principal times rate times time to find the amount of interest owed. So now let's try this, example 3 and 4. Okay, so very much like we just did, example 3 and 4. Rondell's parents borrow $6,300 from the bank for a new car. The interest rate is 6% per year. Oh, that's a really good interest rate. How much simple interest will they pay if they take 2 years to repay the loan? Now it's 2 years, you see that? So we have our interest times principal is 6,300, and our interest rate, our rate is 6% times 2 years. You're going to have 760. So Rondell's parents will pay $756 in 2 years of only interest. Okay, this is in addition to the money they borrowed. Okay, don't forget that. So they're actually going to end up paying $7,056. Borrowing money is not a good thing. Derek's dad bought new tires for $900 using a credit card. His card has an interest rate of 19%. That's actually low because some credit cards have 29%. If he has other charges on his card and does not make a payment, how much money will he owe after 1 month? So as we did before, we use our formula and we have $900 principal, 19% interest, and this is only after 1 month. So 1 out of 12. 1 out of 12. You can change this into a decimal to multiply. Okay? I went ahead and divided 1 divided by 12 so that I could get the decimal. Okay? And now I'm just multiplying 900 times 0.19 times 0.083. Okay? And that's going to give me my interest on those tires. So the interest owed after 1 month is $14.25. So the total amount is going to be $900, my principal, what they lend me, plus the interest rate, so it's $914.25. So the credit card just made $14.25, the credit card company, for doing nothing. All they did was just lend me some money that I had to pay back. Now I want to do question C, and Miss Chen is going to do D. Now listen up for question C. Mrs. Hanover borrows $1,400. I'm just going to go right ahead and replace the variables. P, that's my P, that's $1,400, right? And I'll even put it in parentheses so that I know it's multiplication. At a rate of 5.5%. 5.5 converted to a decimal, 0.055. Yeah? Per year. How much simple interest will she pay if it takes 8 months? Now, 8 months, boys and girls, is 8 over 12, which is actually 2/3, right? And 2/3 as a decimal is 0.66 bar notation, right? So now when we multiply that, we get $51.33. So go ahead and write that up here. Okay, Catherine's going to do D for us.
An office manager charged $425 worth of office supplies on credit card. The credit card has an interest rate of 9.9%. How much money will he owe at the end of the month if he makes no other charge on the card and does not make a payment?
Good. So let's use our formula of interest equals principal times rate times time. Okay, let's replace those variables. We have, Catherine, go ahead and tell us. Okay. What's our principal?
Our principal is $425.
Thank you.
Our rate is 0.099.
Good, which is right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Converted as a decimal times.
And the time is 0.0993 bar notation.
83, right?
83.
Good. Bar notation. And that is actually right here, boys and girls, that is 1/12, right? So you just divide the 1 by the 12, and this is what you're going to get because it's 1 month out of the year. And when you multiply all those together, what do you get? What do you get?
We will get $3.51.
Good. So we get $3.51. Now this is our interest rate, but it says here that he does not make a payment. Does not make a payment. So this amount needs to be added to the principal. So we add that to the total amount, or we'll use T for total amount, and it's $3.51 of interest rate plus our principal of $425, and that's going to give us our total amount of $428.51, right? Okay, go ahead and write that down right up here. Okay, Alfredo, please help us with number 5. Go ahead.
Luis is taking out a car loan for $5,000. He plans on paying off the car loan in 2 years. At the end of 2 years, Luis will have paid $300 in interest. What is the simple interest rate on the car loan?
Well done. So they've given us the value of I, they've given us the value of P, and they told us the time, but they did not tell us the rate. What we need to do is we need to isolate the variable of rate. Okay, so let's do it. So all we did here now is we're going to replace the variable. We know the interest rate. They told us it's $300 of interest, what he paid. $5,000 is the amount that he borrowed, so that's our principal. We don't know the rate, but we know that he did it for 2 years. So what we're going to do is we solve for this side. 5,000 times 2 is 10,000 R. And in order to get rid of the 10,000 on both sides, we divide it out on both sides to the point that we're going to get 0.03 equals R. So our interest rate is 3%. Let's do E.
Maggie is taking out a student loan for $2,600. She plans on paying off the loan in 3 years. At the end of 3 years, Maggie will have paid $390 in interest. What is the simple interest rate on the student loan?
Excellent. Now let's start like we did with every question. We're going to start with interest equals PRT. and let's replace the variable. We've been given the interest. They told us the interest. She's paying $390 in interest. So there's our $390, right?